Technologies. Technologies are a theme of much of my thought and writing over the last 30, 40 years. I don't know what really interested me or got me interested to look into them. I'm not in any way an engineer. I don't make things much. I'm not a practical technologist. And yet I could see from quite early in my life how important tools and technologies are. Technologies are the use of tools, and that means the extensions of your body, because humans have very little on their body, so they make things to make their hands and their heads and their arms stronger. So it's the extensions of man, and it is not just confined to material objects. There are technologies of intellect. For example, mathematics is a technology of thinking, and other things which I've written books about, like glass, is a technology to make your eyes, which receive 70% of our information, to make them much more powerful. You see long distances, see the minute. You can read in old age. A terribly important technology. And so that's an extension of technology. And technology also is not the thing itself, as Brodel defined it. It's not just the ropes and the ship. It's the skills that go around it, how you use a rope, how you tie knots. And tying a knot is part of the technology of using a rope, and how you put up a sail and how you steer a boat. All of it is the lump of things which we call technologies. And so this is a very fruitful field, and one which I think I've become increasingly interested in, partly because when I went to the Himalayas, I went to a society where there was very little in the way of technology as compared to my own society when I went there in the late 1960s. And I suddenly realized that my own society was flooded with technology, extensions of myself, agricultural communications, and so on. So I became very interested in, when I came back, in looking at these. I was also interested in a practical way, because as a writer and researcher, I wanted to improve my efficiency, and so I examined the technologies and was always interested in typewriters and filing cabinets and filing systems, and later was very involved in the computer revolution, because certainly by the 1970s, 80s, it became clear we were in a new technological age, that the earlier ages of printing and writing and photography was giving way to a new communications technology revolution, which was changing the way we perceived the world, how we communicated with each other. And in Cambridge, which was at the forefront of computing and also to a certain extent film and video and things like that, I was experimenting with new technologies, making video discs, making new computer database systems, and so on. And in order to experiment, I needed to understand the principles of how technologies work. And so when the department asked me what I'd like to lecture about, I said from time to time technologies. So I went through a history of Western and other technologies based largely on the wonderful work by Lewis Mumford on Technics and Civilization, which is a classic, and he shows the social effects as well as the causes of technological change, and how it's all linked up with science and the dominance of the West later on. So to understand technologies is essential, and I think that if I was designing curricula for schools and universities, I would insist that there was a module of some kind about technologies, how they work, what their influences are, because in order to be an effective citizen and participant in our modern world, it's not just enough to use smartphones and get on a plane, you really need to understand a little bit about how these systems were evolved and what they are doing to you, because we have extended our minds and our bodies, but each time we extend them, it feeds back into ourselves. We haven't quite yet become cyborgs, in other words, half machine or quarter machine, the rest human. But in a sense, we are cyborgs in that the moment we engage with, as I am with this computer, we are extending ourselves and changing ourselves. Just giving this talk changes me, and so we really need to understand that process if we are going to keep in control of it. So technologies are really, really fascinating and important.